You whisper a prayer in the quiet of the night. There's no answer, no sign, just silence. Wonder, is God listening? If that question haunts you, you're not alone. Millions feel this way at some point. But here's the truth. Just because God is silent doesn't mean he isn't listening. In this video, I'll share 5 powerful ways to know your silent prayer is heard. And by the end, you'll have the confidence to pray boldly, even when all you hear is silence. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share could transform how you experience prayer forever. First, let's start with the most fundamental truth. God is always with you. In Hebrews 13:5, he promises, "I will never leave you nor forsake you." Even when you don't feel his presence or hear his voice, he is there. Imagine a parent watching over their sleeping child. The child doesn't hear or see the parent, but the parent is always there, full of love. When you pray silently, trust that God's presence surrounds you like the air you breathe. Your words don't need to be loud for him to hear. God listens to the heart, not just the voice. Take comfort in this. The creator of the universe leans in close to hear your every thought, your every sigh, even when you feel invisible. Faith is the bridge between your prayer and God's response. Hebrews 6 says, "Without faith it is impossible to please God." Even when you don't hear a reply, faith reminds you that your prayers are reaching him. Think about this. When you plant a seed, you don't see the roots growing underground, but you trust the process. Prayer works the same way. You may not see the results immediately, but something is happening beneath the surface. Here's a challenge. Every time doubt creeps in, remind yourself that faith isn't about what you can see. It's about trusting what you cannot see. God hears you, even when the answer isn't obvious. One of the hardest parts of prayer is waiting. But remember, God's timing is always perfect. In Isaiah 55:8-9, he says, "My thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways." Sometimes, silence is God's way of preparing you for something greater. Think about a time you prayed for something, only to receive a better answer later, an answer you didn't even know you needed. Silence doesn't mean rejection. It often means redirection. Instead of asking, "Why hasn't God answered me yet?" try asking, "What is God teaching me during this silence?" You'll be amazed at how that perspective shifts your heart. How can you know God is listening? Sometimes it's the little signs, a gentle nudge in your spirit, an unexpected blessing, or a verse that speaks directly to your situation. These aren't coincidences. They're whispers from God saying, "I'm here." Here are 3 practical ways to notice these signs. Keep a prayer journal. Write down your prayers and look back on how they've been answered over time. Pay attention to Scripture. Often God speaks through his word, directing you to verses you need in the moment. Look for peace. Even in silence, God often gives you an unexplainable sense of peace, a sign that he's working behind the scenes. The more you seek these signs, the more you'll recognize God's voice in the quiet moments of life. Finally, remember this. Prayer isn't a transaction. It's a relationship. God isn't a vending machine where you input requests and get instant results. He's a loving Father who desires a deeper connection with you. Sometimes, his silence is an invitation to lean closer, to trust him more, and to grow in your relationship with him. When you approach prayer as a conversation, rather than a checklist, you'll find a new depth of intimacy with God. And here's the beautiful truth. Even when you have no words, God hears the language of your heart. That's the essence of a loving relationship. If this message has encouraged you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs to know that their prayers are heard. And if you want to grow deeper in your faith journey, hit like, subscribe to this channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new content. Before you go, take a moment to sit quietly, right where you are. Whisper this simple prayer. God, I trust you. I know you hear me. And remember, God's silence doesn't mean he's absent. He's closer than you think.